What's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC. Today we're going to be checking out the Orion Knives Ares. This is another one coming to me by way of the Apex Pass Around group, which I think is super cool because prior to coming across this in the Apex Slack chat, I had never heard of Orion Knives, so great opportunity to check out a new brand on the channel, and I think a really great first knife to introduce me to the brand. It's relatively budget friendly at only $89, so I'll make sure to leave a link in the description of the video if you're interested in checking this one out, as always. And I think for me, the most intriguing feature of this knife is the utilization of a wedge lock through that pivot button lock. And so you can see our button is integrated into that pivot. Functionality wise, that's not really adding or taking anything away from your standard button lock, but I think from a design perspective, from an aesthetic perspective, it's just a much more streamlined look, and I don't really find myself having to adjust to the new placement that's different than your standard button lock. It's just a really natural landing spot for your thumb, and so don't have any sort of adjustment period. Right out of the box was ready to use that button lock. Also helps that it's extremely well executed here. No button stick to speak of. You can use it as a deployment method as well if you want to use that to flick it out. A lot of fun to do that as well. You probably already noticed my preferred deployment method is through this fuller though. It allows you to pinch and pull if you prefer the two-handed opening, but also makes it a great candidate for those middle finger flicks. And the detent is dialed in perfectly. It's ultra smooth, so a fun one to middle finger flick. I find myself just constantly flipping it open and then back close with that pivot button lock. So if you're looking for a fidget-friendly knife, this is definitely one of them. Also, in terms of sizing, mid to large size knife at 8¼ inches in overall length. 4.73 inches of that's reserved for our handle. D10 handles available in a couple different colors. Some really nice texturing on here that adds a little bit to the grip. And 4.73 inches is plenty of real estate for a full 4-finger grip for even the largest hands. And I have plenty of real estate to spread out if I want to. So nice comfortable grip on there. No hot spots. Great ergos on here. Don't feel the pocket clip at all. And one kind of subtle design element that I really like is this small bump here right in front of the pivot, right before the blade starts. So you can see there's no jimping on this blade, but that really allows you to lock in. It keeps your thumb from sliding up onto the back of the blade and gives you a really nice tight grip on the front of that knife that feels great. And if you want to creep past that, get a little bit of pressure behind the edge and creep onto that blade, you can see it's still subtle enough that it's not eating into the meat of my thumb, so it doesn't create a hot spot for your thumb there. You can slide right past it, but also just a nice placement to secure that grip if you want to utilize it. And so another thing worth noting, it does have nested liners, some steel liners in here that are skeletonized. They do kind of stick out in the back, but the majority of them are nested. You can see, you can't see them on the interior portion. And that does add a decent amount of weight to this one. And that's the one kind of negative to this one, is that it's a little bit on the heavy side for a knife this size at about 4.4 ounces. Now, that being said, it doesn't feel cumbersome in your hand. It feels well balanced and just not super weighty in your hand, but it is on the heavier side, so I wanted to make sure to point that out. Another thing that I wanted to point out was the pocket clip. So as I mentioned, you don't really feel that in your grip, but was surprised to see a milled titanium pocket clip on a knife in this price range. Usually with this price range knife, you're not going to get a titanium pocket clip like this. We get a great looking pocket clip that is also reversible for right or left hand carry. And one thing you may recognize is that mounting option when we look at the reverse side of it is eerily similar to a Spyderco pocket clip, and that's because this is compatible with Para 3 lightweight clips. And I think that was a really great choice because there's not a bunch of manufacturers making aftermarket clips for Orion knives, but there are a bunch of manufacturers making aftermarket clips for the Para 3 lightweight. And so you can swap it for a wire pocket clip or a Lynch Northwest pocket clip or any of those brands, Applied Weapon Technologies, that are making Para 3 lightweight clips. And so it gives you a lot of customization options. Now, personally, I don't think I would feel the need to replace this because it comes with a great looking clip right out of the box. But if you do, it's really nice to have that customization option. Now, in terms of our blade, 3.58 inch American Tanto. Great looking blade with that compound grind. We have a really thin and slicey hollow grind on the main belly portion of that blade, but near that American Tanto tip, we have a flat grind that just gives a little bit more thickness and stability at the tip, a little bit more strength at the tip while still maintaining that super thin slicey edge on the belly of the knife. Nice sharpening choil here towards the back, and love the look of that fuller. I think it offers a really nice streamlined look over, again, a thumb stud or a thumb hole, or especially over silver flipper tabs, works really well and ultra smooth. And so really like the design of this knife overall. It's pretty affordable, made in China of course, but at that price point can't expect anything less. And in terms of billboarding, it's fairly minimal. We have the Orion Knives logo, which I really like, tucked up against the handle, super clean logo. And on the other side, same thing, just the 14C28N in its place. Great budget steel. Overall, I think this is a super cool knife. Really excited about this brand. I saw they already have a few other knives out, so definitely gonna have to check out more from Orion Knives. Let me know what you think of this knives. If you have any of their knives, what your experience has been with them. Also came with a poker chip, which I may as well show off here. The Orion Knives on the front and the Ares on the back. And so really nice kind of touch with that as well if you're into collecting things like coins and poker chips. But again, would love to hear your thoughts on this one down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, checking out some of my other videos, or sharing this content with anyone who you think might be interested. All helps the channel out a ton. And I hope you have a great one. Take care.